everyone. I'm Alexis Reyes. I lead the solution engineering and architecture teams here at DigitalOcean. I've been in the data center space for 15 years. The last 6 years, I've had the opportunity to work here at DigitalOcean, where my team has talked and helped customers migrate to from many different cloud providers. We've helped hundreds, if not thousands of customers throughout the years. So today, I wanted to talk about cutting costs, not corners, and simplifying your cloud migration to DigitalOcean. Now, I wanted for us to sort of imagine a scenario, right? Imagine that this is your architecture and that you have a video streaming platform. You're leveraging a load balancer, you have a CI/CD implementation, you're leveraging Terraform and our provider in order to automate a lot of your infrastructure. You have a build image, you have a container registry, you have your containers or your pods that are managing these streams within Kubernetes. You also have a database cluster, more than one database, because it's highly recommended to have more than just a single database in the event that it goes down. As part of your video streaming platform, you're also storing the live videos in an S3 compatible storage. And a lot of the streams then navigate through the origin nodes, ultimately to the relay nodes, and they eventually hit the edge nodes. Now, just imagine that this is your architecture and you have it distributed across multiple cloud providers or multiple data centers. And then one day, you see your bill, and your bill has increased by 30 or even 20%. What is your next move? Imagine you're the administrator, you're the admin that's operating this environment, and you receive a Slack message from your boss saying, hey, we have to migrate, costs are getting too high. What is your next move? Here at DigitalOcean, we take pride in partnering up and making sure that we help customers that decide that they need to migrate to a cloud that is simple, scalable, and approachable. And we're your partners throughout this entire journey. Now, let's talk about why customers decide to migrate to DigitalOcean. After hundreds, if not thousands of conversations with customers, the number one reason why customers decide to talk to us, especially in those initial phases, is because their cloud costs are getting extremely high and they're looking for an alternative. They want to be able to reduce their costs, but keep the same performance and keep the same tier and level of application that their customers are used to. We also see customers that as they were building out the initial phases of their application, they decided to leverage a cloud provider and use a lot of their vendor lock-in tools. But as their business decided to grow and change, and they gained more users within the platform, they started noticing that they were locked into this ecosystem that made it very difficult for them to move out. So oftentimes we see customers that are locked into a vendor with no way of essentially migrating or having a multi-cloud strategy. Makes it a lot more complex. So customers come to us to be on a platform that they can deploy Kubernetes or they can deploy open source software in a way that does not lock them into any environment, enabling customers to have one of the recommended cloud deployment strategies, which is a multi-cloud environment. We also see customers that are looking to modernize. Maybe you have a customer, or there's a customer that has a monolith application, and within that monolith application, they're looking to have microservices architecture where they're leveraging Kubernetes or they're containerizing a lot of their environments. The other reason that customers decide to come to us is because they're looking for personalized support. Unless you're an anchor customer or a customer that's spending millions of dollars, you might not get the personalized support that you need in order to make sure that your business is successful. These are challenges that we at DigitalOcean are passionate about solving. Now, some of the challenges that we see with customers, as they're looking to migrate, oftentimes as businesses are growing and they have multiple teams, there's fragmented systems and processes. You can have an on-premise solution, but then also that on-premise connects to a different data center, or it even connects to another Kubernetes cluster somewhere else. You also have businesses where different teams are not aware of the entire scope of the application. You have one team that focuses on containers, another team that focuses on storage, but no one really has like the full picture. That's something that, along with our partners, we take pride in going in, having a full analysis of your architecture, making sure that we really understand and that you also understand how your application works and how you can better optimize for cost. Another challenge with cloud migrations is the data migration complexities. We've seen everything from extremely large databases to high volumes of data stored in volumes that might necessarily be better off on an S3 compatible storage. This is something that we go in and we provide advice and consulting on how to optimize like your storage, because storage costs dramatically increase. Customers also often just don't know how to migrate, and there isn't a clear migration strategy on how they can move over and be successful, right? That's another area where we come in and we build out an entire statement of work with our partners, making sure that you know step by step what will be the deliverables and how you can be successful within the migration. We've also seen skill gaps in teams. There's so many customers that are very interested in autoscaling and Kubernetes and all of these new modern techniques for hosting your applications, but yet within their teams, there's certain skill gaps. This is, again, another area that we come in and we help. Along with our partners, we can come in and the partners essentially become an extension of your team. In addition, you have access to solution architects that can help you and can guide you and help train up your teams to make sure that your teams can be successful on our platform. And the last part is the cultural resistance to change. We often find that even though costs are getting high, some administrators are reluctant to move, right? They like the environment, they're comfortable within the environments. But one thing that we've noticed throughout all of the migrations and all the customer interactions is that once customers acknowledge, and especially the engineers and everyone is building these applications, once they see the outcome and they get to try DigitalOcean simplicity and how quick everything is and how we have everything through APIs and we have Terraform providers and they get hands-on experience leveraging DigitalOcean, then it becomes a no-brainer. So how do we help? We define the entire migration strategy from start to end and even after, right? We create a statement of work, how I've mentioned, we outline all of the deliverables, and we make sure that everyone in your team understands what it takes to migrate to DigitalOcean. We also provide hands-on assistance. So not only will we consult and give you best practices and work with you, but we are willing to be hands-on and help actually migrate and lift and shift a lot of like the environments. We create that clear migration statement of work, which is a document that both of us share together and we all have exposure to it and we know step by step what's going to happen throughout the migration. And it's all a phased migration approach. We definitely do not want to migrate everything all at once, right? We pick out specific applications within your architecture, we test it out, we make sure that you're confident that your application will work on DigitalOcean, and then we initiate a phased approach to migrating the environments. And throughout this entire process, there's a Slack channel. There's a clear communication where we are communicating directly with your engineers, we're communicating directly with everyone involved, and we're supporting you from beginning to the end throughout the entire journey. So how we work with partners. And if you're not a partner or if you are a business that brings businesses into cloud providers, I highly recommend that you talk to our team to see if you can become a DigitalOcean partner. But partners are really an extension of your business. Not only for migrations, but if you're interested in deploying something or you have a tight timeline where you need more help, our partners can come in and help you, not just for the migration, but for your overall application. Partners simplify complex customer migrations. Migrations are probably one of the most challenging things that all of us that work in the cloud space might encounter, right? But it doesn't have to be too complex if you have everything well documented and if you have the right team in place. And as I mentioned, partners accelerate project timelines, and we build trust together. We want to make sure that throughout the entire journey, you feel that you're operating and you have a smooth transition to DigitalOcean. And ultimately, we'll drive shared growth and success. And you'll hear a lot about a customer example after my session, where they'll dive into like the details of how the migration happened and how the different teams were involved. So at DigitalOcean, as I mentioned, we're your partners throughout the entire journey. Now, in regards to migrations and making sure that you're successful, we also want to make sure that you're modernizing your tech stack. So we're super excited, to announce that, as you move over to DigitalOcean, you have the ability to save 30 to 50% on your cloud workloads. You have solution architects, you have partners, you have folks ready with experience in order to facilitate the migration at no cost. You also have the ability to modernize your software by adding DO agents. With GenAI agents, you can quickly define and optimize a lot of your application. And one way that I always like to advise customers is to think about data, right? The more data you have, the more insights a DO agent can enable your application, the more insights a DO agent can help optimize through AI. And we're also offering 6 months of GenAI credits to customers that migrate to DigitalOcean. And look, don't take my word for it. PCAP was a great example. They were able to reduce 75% of their cloud costs by migrating from AWS to DigitalOcean. Tango is another example where it wasn't just about the costs, but they also needed to make sure that they had a stable environment, and they were also very keen on making sure that they had the support that they needed to be successful. So again, let's discuss your migration needs. Connect with us today. If you would like more information or if you would like to sign up, you can go to digitalocean.com, landing, migrates, and fill out the form, and you can be in contact with one of our solution architects for more information. With that, I would like to bring over my friend and DigitalOcean partner, Kyle Campbell, founder, CEO of CTO AI.
Thank you, sir. Alexis. All right, good to see everybody. First, I just want to start by thanking Alexis, Patty, the whole DigitalOcean team for giving me a voice as a partner. I'm hoping to share a little bit more with you about what partners look like at DigitalOcean and go a little deeper into how we support you. First, we're going to spend the next little bit talking about that at a bit of a high level. And then we're going to go into, after the break, a much more direct case study with NoBid. And you may have heard Rada on stage yesterday speaking about NoBid's journey. Well, we also have Sean, who's the CIO from NoBid, and we're going to go into a much more detailed look at that and how they went through their migration. Before we start, I just want to give you a little bit of context for who I am. I am an autodidact software engineer from a very early age. I've been building clouds and building on clouds since about the .com. So I started very much learning software development from the ground level up. And later in my career, I became an entrepreneur, founded a number of different startup companies. One was acquired by Zillow Group. My current company, C2.ai, is a partner with DigitalOcean. And so it's just an introduction to us so you have an understanding what a partner may look like. We position ourselves as what we call a DevOps as a service and migration partner at DigitalOcean. Our goal is to help you migrate and scale and optimize developer operations. We know that as a company is growing, DevOps and managing cloud infrastructure can become more complex with the scale of your infrastructure. And what we seek to do is sort of meet you at where you're at and simplify that path. We meet you where you're at and optimize you to the path of most optimal workflow. Despite how complex your infrastructure might be, we want to enable you to deliver the best software to your customers alongside DigitalOcean. So we facilitate things like end-to-end cloud migration alongside the solution architects, people like Alexis, people like Austin, but get very hands-on in that process. We can do it completely hands-on and end-to-end if you need us to. We also specialize in Kubernetes generally, scaling, monitoring, alerting. We have a bunch of Kubernetes certified admins on team that can effectively augment you. We have a long experience with every different type of infrastructure as code. My personal favorite is CDKTF. A lot of people don't know about this, but it's a Terraform provider or Terraform dialect that you can write in imperative code, Python, JavaScript, etc. So it can make infrastructure as code really friendly to developers who are maybe more experienced with things like TypeScript. And we also have our own fully managed CI/CD implementation. We can meet you where you're at if you're using something already, or we can implement an end-to-end workflow using our own CI/CD platform that has integrations with Slack, where you can just talk to the workflow. It has integrations with the CLI, it has integrations with Git, and we also measure DORA metrics, because our end game isn't to have you thinking about infrastructure. The point of DevOps is to enable devs to do as much of the operations as possible. So DORA metrics is a really great way of measuring software delivery velocity, and it's how I measure outcomes as a lifelong founder and CTO when I work with engineering teams. So when you work with a partner is meant to get more hands-on with the recommendations that the cloud provider provides to you. And this is true typically of any partner program, but usually it should always start with a consultation. This should be absolutely free. Nobody should be charging you for a consultation. We want to lead with value. And if I can't find a way to partner with you, imperative word partner, and support you with getting to your goal, that's on me. So whenever you work with a partner, you should expect a free consultation, and that's an opportunity for the partner to really download and understand where you're at, what are your goals. Then we want to work towards a migration process, and that's where we work really closely alongside the solution architects to take the recommendations and the paths that have been proposed for the cloud architecture that would be best for you as you might migrate from certain managed services to certain, say, open source solutions. And we want to basically set this up from a perspective of making sure that you understand the migration timeline before we move into any form of implementation for or alongside you. The next phase is obviously implementation. So if you're comfortable with that plan, we will use that plan to apply for what's called partner services funding through DigitalOcean. This allows us to offset or remove the cost to you while also helping you move through that implementation so that you don't have to worry about the migration being a business disruptor. That could be anything from implementing CI/CD infrastructure as code, or even getting into the application process. Maybe you're looking to containerize your application and you haven't done that before. This can be really helpful to help you modernize and simplify the way that you manage and deploy and get ultimately to those cost savings and the simplicity that DigitalOcean offers. But where I really love what we do as a partner is not during the first, 3 months, 6 months. It's that long-term partnership, right? We want to be alongside you as you grow your business. So the way that we provide support and augment the existing premium support and amazing support that even comes in for everybody on DigitalOcean directly in Slack is my favorite part of what we do, because we can work alongside both DigitalOcean and you as an extension of your team, have a very personal relationship. And as a startup founder, and I know many people are building businesses on DigitalOcean, I love that because I actually get to understand your business and help you think about how to use technology to serve it. Technology is just a tool at the end of the day. So to just summarize, like a really clear pathway for migration with a partner should be broken down into 3 main phases. The consultation, right? So you want to sit down and partner with the solution architects, a partner like us, to get also an outside view of your migration path. And from that, we come up with a plan for validation. That's the next step. Let's prove that we can move workloads over to DigitalOcean and make sure that you feel comfortable with the process the migration is going to go through. This is sometimes thought of like a proof of concept. I think of it as a standpoint of validation. Just like you'd validate new features with customers in your own product, we want to validate that the way that we deploy and the way that we deploy your software meets or beats your performance and cost expectations. So we extrapolate that into then a migration pathway, and that's where end-to-end this process should be very low cost, very low impact to your business, and that's what a partner is here to help you achieve. So one of the ways that we do that as a partner because we've done a lot of these migrations. And to be clear, we've worked with every cloud and really focus on DigitalOcean because of some key benefits of simplicity, the cost savings, especially for the customers that are looking to migrate. Being able to do so efficiently is important. So we've developed what we think of as templated landing zones. So this is a series of infrastructure as code and CI/CD tools that just work out of the box. With more advanced architectures like Kubernetes, a container registry, backed with droplets and block storage. Effectively, we've built out different providers in Terraform, different infrastructure as code approaches in Terraform. And this is all open source, can be easily customized, extended, changed to fit your requirements. We can help you do that. But the key things that come out of this is it can give you an accelerated path to production readiness using best practices, security, etc. It is proven at scale already because we've used it with a lot of customers. So it saves you a lot of time on the learning curve. And the other thing is it's already pre-integrated with the best of breed managed services, managed Kubernetes, container registries, droplets, load balancers, even monitoring. And then we basically layer our additional premium support where any issue that you may have with your CI/CD flow or even your process for managing infrastructure as code, we're there to help you through that in a very hands-on way, even working directly with your pull requests, your code base, if that's helpful. So when we think about migrations at a high level, generally speaking, this is true for every migration. There's obviously nuance in every case, but I try to break every migration down into three main stages. The first is what we think of as ephemeral infrastructure. So this is generally speaking applications. It's things like infrastructure. It's things where recreating the state of your environment can be codified and deterministic. So it's easy to create it using automation. If you're not there yet, the first step is moving to something like containers. That allows you to create an ephemeral state of your application workload. Another great step is infrastructure as code, because now we can automate the creation of infrastructure. Austin talked about blue-green deployments earlier. That's a really great strategy. But the key reason we start here is it's the lowest impact on the lift and shift that helps you to gain confidence that you can move your compute workloads over. And the other side benefit is you can get really early wins on cost savings because DigitalOcean is so competitive on compute and on bandwidth. Bandwidth being a big consideration for certain architectures like the video streaming one that Alexis shared earlier. So at that point, you've moved your apps over, you're scaling, you've got auto scaling going, you have monitoring, you understand sort of how things operate. The question now becomes, how do you move your stateful workloads over? And these are your databases. And there's usually a period here where you have to think about a bit of a hybrid strategy in your migration. How do I access those data sources? From there, there's a set of strategies that we work towards to migrate things like databases and workers with zero downtime. A key concept for this is replication. Being able to replicate data from wherever your database lives today to a database that is now hosted in the exact same private subnet of the same VPC of your ephemeral infrastructure, that's a process that can be done with zero downtime using replication as a strategy. All major database engines support this. And if they don't, there's other ways that you can approach that to minimize the impact. But during a migration, state is one of the most tricky things to manage because you're moving. I like to use the analogy of you're jumping between two airplanes and you don't want to drop anything when you're in flight. Data is hard to recover when it's lost. So we want to be really careful of this stage. Now, the last stage of any migration is you move into production. And production readiness is a whole topic on its own. This is where DevOps, SRE practices are the most beneficial to your business. The two things that everyone should be focused on when getting ready for production readiness is monitoring and scaling. I put monitoring first. How do I know if something's scaling if I can't monitor it? How do I know if it's working if I can't see it? And one of the things that's really stressful for every software engineer, and I have the scar tissue to prove it, is getting woken up at 3 o'clock in the morning. Something's broken. I feel like something's broken. And you got to figure out what it is, right? So having monitoring is the first step, and then introducing scaling is always a better practice because it helps you then determine, is the scaling happening? And can I optimize that scaling for cost, for resilience, whatever your end game is in those further iterations. So I just want to reiterate, like every migration you go through will to some degree flow through these stages of readiness. And if you break your workloads down to ephemeral and stateful and think about that from that concept, and then you move through them iteratively, you can build very clear and resilient confidence and get to production in such a way where you're not fielding those 3 a.m. phone calls because everything is broken. is a very helpful strategy to thinking about more complex infrastructure. The last thing before we take a break, I just want to take a moment to just kind of reiterate from a third-party point of view. As a developer, as a founder, one of the reasons I've chose to really partner in our business with DigitalOcean is I do think they bring a really unique offering to the market. And I like I said, I've worked with every cloud provider for years. You've heard this repeated today, and I just want to echo it. The reasons I partner with DigitalOcean is simplicity can really drive affordable pricing. But the differentiator here is you're getting that reliability, not just in the infrastructure, but you're getting a direct hands-on relationship with the people who are building that service at the cloud provider. And our goal as a partner is to help bring that layer in between that can go deeper alongside your team, modernize the way that you think about your migration, modernize the outcomes of your migration, and help you just be successful at adopting the benefits that DigitalOcean can provide. There's very few other offerings in the market that can reduce cost savings. And as every person who's building a business on the internet knows, efficiency and cost savings are very important. So, for me, that's a really big differentiator for DigitalOcean.